So the starter will go up in just a moment and release these 2-year-olds. And he's ready to do that. They're set, they're racing, and Saramina jumped sideways. She missed the start by about 6 or 7 lengths, so she won't take any part by the looks of it. Avenay came out fast and led from Satin Shoes and Power Receiver, followed by That's How. Trump is starting to improve, one off the fence inside it, Afton Land, followed by M+, and then Disputes is well back and out a little bit wide early on, but starting to pick up some ground now, going up near midfield, and then California Poppy and Saramina, who made a mess of the start, is still back at the rear. Avenay led for home, led from Satin Shoes on its outside, about 2 or 3 to Afton Land, followed by Trump, and then That's How, and Disputes is coming down the outside, but Avenay still in front as they top the rise. Satin Shoes the closest to it on the outside, is starting to come after it quickly now. Satin Shoes raced up on the outside, took the lead from Avenay, and then there's a big space to Disputes, but Satin Shoes is coming right away, hands and heels over the concluding stage. Is an impressive debut. Beat Avenay about 4 to Disputes, third from California Poppy, and Sarah Mena's done a great job to finish in 5th spot after bombing the start, followed by That's How, M+, Trump, Afton Land, and last in was Power Receiver.
Well, she was a massive drifter on track, out to $8.50 in the end. Satin Shoes, beautifully bred, this half-sister to Zarzuela, the champion New Zealand filly. Peter Roybal combining with Clary Connors, and she was just dominant. 10.57 are the numbers. Anave, well, tried hard in front, but this filly just too strong, getting past her easily in the end. Eased down on the line, in fact. And number 7, Disputes, a fair way back in 3rd placing.
Yeah, really smart win. Still a bit green up the last 200, run about a bit, so plenty to work with there, plenty of upside, but just like her trial, she went brilliantly today and got a bit of a future. Anave showed good speed like her trial. She led the winner, though No Match has spaced 3rd, so plenty of merit in her performance on debut. And Disputes, who covered ground, had a trail most of the time, finished the race off pretty well into 3rd, and as good as any run in the race, Saramina, after blowing the start some 6 lengths. So it all went to script off the trials, bar Saramina blowing the start.
Exactly right. Look, as they come around the turn, you can see this lovely big filly. She's a bigger type than Anave. You can see that just in the head-on. That's Anave in the limey green colours on the inside. Now, here you can see Satin Shoes. The jock had gone for the whip, whereas the other horse still being ridden at hands and heels. But this horse just needed a little bit of sharpening up and just went straight past Anave. She is another English Easter yearling sale graduate. Satin Shoes sold by Crestfield stud to Hubie de Berg for $700,000. And that's, 3 weeks in a row. English preview shows have had winners. Of course, Secret Admirer and Achiever we'd previewed in our preview shows for the weanlings and the yearling sales. And here's another one winning here at Randwick. Clary Connors is now with Dave Gately.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Clary joins me, and just like her trials, Clary, she went brilliantly.
Yeah, she's a real good filly. This is the first prep, just saying to some people then. She's come from the breaker. She's been to my place a couple of months, of course, a bit more than that. But this is the first prep, so she'll go out now, and she'll come back, and I think she'll be up to we've got to be in that first week in April, and the Golden Slipper Day. That's the time we've got to be there.
Eyeing off the big one, it's she's still green up the straight, so there's plenty to work with.
Yeah, well, she would naturally, she'd be looking at the other horse and everything, and Pete just slapped her up, and on a windy day like this, young horses do a lot of things wrong, especially fillies. But I was very happy with her. She's on the outside. She didn't do much wrong, really.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Clary Connors there, Caroline, and eyeing off a Golden Slipper.
Yeah, look, she is a super little filly, isn't she? Flying Spur out of Star Satire. She was a Group 1 winner. And this filly, the half 2 Zarzuela, won 3 group races and was placed in a New Zealand Oaks. So heading to the Slipper, and Clary's the trainer to do it. He has had, of course, 4 Golden Slipper winners. All right, we'll bring you the jockey maybe later on, but in the meantime, let's head back to Caulfield.
Scored by 2 and a quarter lengths. To improve, one off the fence inside it, Afton Land, followed by M+, and then Disputes is well back and out a little bit wide early on, but starting to pick up some ground now, going up near midfield, and then California Poppy and Saramina, who made a mess of the start, is still back at the rear. Avenay led for home, led from Satin Shoes on its outside, about 2 or 3 to Afton Land, followed by Trump, and then That's How, and Disputes is coming down the outside, but Avenay still in front as they top the rise. Satin Shoes the closest to it on the outside, is starting to come after it quickly quickly now. Satin Shoes raced up on the outside, took the lead from Avenay, and then there's a big space to disputes, but Satin Shoes is coming right away. Hands and heels over the concluding stages, an impressive debut. Beat Avenay about 4 to disputes, third from California Poppy, and Sarah Mena's done a great job to finish in 5th spot after bombing the start, followed by That's How, N Plus, Trump, Aftonland, and last in was Power... by Arahi. The good preparation has been in Melbourne before, of course, started off down here, got him going into the system at Darley, went up to Sydney, won the Gloaming, had his chance chasing his stablemate Era One, who'd beaten him previously, who'd been beaten previously in the Spring Champion.
He just looks the one, doesn't he? I mean, he probably would have beaten Era One there in the Champion if he hadn't ducked in at about the 200. And right on the line, he was going very strongly. We've seen him once on a heavy track. He walked in Betfair Park Hillside. Definitely the one to beat. Yeah, hard to find enough there. Darley also have Eula Nonna here, who went to Sydney, went through a different form race, the Dulcify there. Let's find out from Paul Snowden.
No, Paul did the first race. The horse ran second. Peter said, if you don't mind, I'll step in now. Good to see you, mate. And you got a jumper on.
Jumper, I got thermals, I got everything on.
Jeez, it's cold, isn't it?
Oh, actually, not as bad as I thought it was going to be, actually. It's not too bad.
Now, Pete, I spoke to you in Sydney a few times about Retrieves. You've always had a good opinion.
Yeah, I have Rich, and I think he's a pretty talented horse, and hopefully he makes one step further to that later on.
What about the heavy ground?
He has one on a slow track at Sandown. It was a bog. Wasn't emphatic, didn't race away and win well, but did the job well, and I think this will be probably a similar sort of race at Grind today.
No disrespect to the stablemate Yellow Loner. Nice type, but he probably just looks safely held by the stablemate. Fair call?
Oh, you think so, but wet tracks, things happen in racing, and now we're out over a bit of a trip, but it suits him as well as Retrieve, so I wouldn't rule him out, but if you ask you my pick, I'd say that Retrieve.
That's where the $10 is.
That's where it's on.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And that Dulcify form didn't measure up in the Spring Champion, really, did it?
No, it didn't. That was listed Retrieve's Group 1. This horse, Eula Nonna, did start his career on a heavy track here at Seymour and went okay, but I think Retrieve's got him covered.
Altius not in the yard yet. We'll come back to him. McAdoo wears a tongue tie today. He's stamped himself already here in Australia.
He goes all right, and he's placed his only run on a heavy track back in New Zealand. I wouldn't be totally dismissive of him. He's got some pretty good odds.
Digital Fortress for Guy Walter. Well, we saw it beat Fortavella. We saw last week out of its grade. Did beat a handy horse in Light Brigade last start. That was on heavy ground. Not sure about the class yet, but I'm sure the ground, and he's on the up.
I think you're right. I think that sort of gives him a first 4 chance at least. I mean, he came from the back at Warwick Farm and really ploughed through that going well. This is a lot tougher, but it wasn't a bad win.
No doubt about that. Al Mindoro, still a maiden, but he's progressing nicely. There's been a long-range, like the previous one, the Dislago, long-range Oaks for her, a long-range Derby plan for him, and it's coming together.
Yeah, query in the going, as a lot of these are. The 9th and the slow track at the Valley was quite good, and then the run at Flemington was terrific, but just a little query in this heavy 10.
That's the 7. Let's look at 8, Pitt Street. It was beaten by McAdoo, who's here, and then beat Our Pride and Joy, who was just battling away in the previous.
No, she was a bit disappointed today, Pride and Joy, but the previous run was good here behind McAdoo and Altius. He also went round on a slow track at the Valley, and he has raced on a heavy track in an unsuitable 1,000 metre race, so don't be surprised if he doesn't run a good race at odds.
Let's look at Makybe Diva's half-brother. Let's not keep calling him that. Let's call